Well, here we are in my backyard. It's mid-June and everything is a blaze of color. Now, today I want to concentrate on how I use climbing plants in my garden and maybe give you one or two tips as to where to grow them. So let's not beat around the bush, let's get moving. Well, here's a classic example of the clematis growing up a climbing frame, a rose tower. Just look how beautiful it looks now. I think I'd like to put another clematis that flowers a bit later in, but that's another project I've got. Let's have a look at another one. Well, this is a story of two rose towers. Well, the story was that this one over here, this is a David Austin rose, an English rose, fantastic fragrance. It had almost died. There was a tower there, there was one tiny little shoot left of it, and I decided, well, let's put this other rose. This has been recommended to me. I think it's called Eden. And I was going to plant that one, and this one goes away, so what? And then I've got this replacement here. But all of a sudden, I think the jealousy of having this new rose next to it made him burst into life. Now, what you're seeing amongst it all are some honeysuckle. There's some clematis there, but I think it's more visible on the other side. So once you've got climbing plants, there's no reason why you should just stick to one. Put two or three together, and you'd be surprised how pretty some of the combinations come. I can see some of the clematis, it's decided not to go up here. It's gone somewhere else over that mock orange. So nice combination and a double whammy for my rose collection. Very, very nice. Well, here's a combination of this sensation honeysuckle. It really is incredibly fragrant, and it's planted actually on top of this. It's a native azalea, Azalea viscosum, the swamp azalea. That's also incredibly fragrant, and the combination together, especially in the morning. Now, honeysuckles are at their maximum fragrance, I think about 3 o'clock in the morning. Moths tend to pollinate them, so that fragrance is right there. If there is a very still air, if you wake up early in the morning, the fragrance can be really amazing. In fact, my wife actually sits here on this step with a cup of coffee, so I've done a good thing by planting these two fragrant plants next door. So, do you think, Lily? How do you like that? Well, I think she's trying to eat it. All right, no, don't eat that. Probably too strong for her sensitive nose. So how about this? This is a pin oak covered now with a Japanese climbing hydrangea. They're quite able to adhere to the bark. I just make sure there's no circling going around. I just pull it free when all the leaves are off, just to make sure it isn't strangling the tree, which it isn't. Most times these will do no harm to a tree whatsoever. The other precaution, because I love this tree, is I will trim it from the deck. Just go around and trim any branches go up there. I don't know if you can see up higher, there's some dead branches where I trimmed a couple of years ago. It will climb beautifully, but what a display of flowers this year. It really is quite spectacular. So Japanese climbing hydrangea as opposed to a regular climbing hydrangea, both have their good points. This thing I think just has a little bit more positive. The leaf I'm going to try and show you in here. The leaf has this kind of little variegation going on once they mature. So after the flowers are finished, the leaves change a little bit and it makes it very, very attractive. Well, I often get asked, do climbing roses do well in northeast Pennsylvania? The answer is, if you choose the right ones, yes, they do. And here we have a combination, a wild combination of the New Dawn climbing rose, which must be at least 25 feet long. And we have the rambling red rose here. Past their best, when the flowering is completely finished, I've got a job to do. I've got to trim it back and pin it to the lattice work there and contain the red rose. So roses aren't necessarily climbers by their own ability. You've got to attach them to something. Well, I've moved into a little courtyard part of our garden. It was the first garden I actually planted when I came here. I put the trellis up, made a little private little area, and we planted a climbing hydrangea and a quince and various clematis around it all. The hydrangea grows very rapidly, and this year we have to trim it back, kind of flush to the lattice, which you can see just in there. I'm going to wait for the flowering to finish, another couple of weeks, and then I would trim it, probably a hedge trimmer, just take it all off. So climbing plants, there's lots of places in your yard, whether you buy a lattice, a rose tower, or have a wall, or a kind of some brickwork, blockwork, or even a tree, you can plant a climbing plant. And getting everything up is so much more satisfactory a garden. It gives you a much more enclosed feel. So there you go, lots of color, plants sort of filling in the spaces, no room for weeds. We're using all the vertical surfaces we can find, and it makes a spectacular garden, a real cozy kind of English feel. So if you've got any questions about how to plant, what to plant, where to plant, I'm down here at Greystone Gardens. I'd love to see you. Come and visit.